Greetings, beloveds, and welcome to Divine Mother. This week, I'm excited to share, drop in, reveal, and discuss a message regarding Shakti. This came through intuitively and will be co-created live with Spirit. As the message comes through, I might drop into the chat if called. If not, I will circle back to the chat at the end to be present with you. I am your guide, Brooke Grove. I am a healer and teacher. I am a near-death and spiritually transformative experiencer. I am a writer and poet, and I am a mother. For purposes of this time, space, and forging community, I am here on behalf of the Divine Mother. She called me to begin discussing these aspects of the suppressed divine feminine history that has been ripped away from our knowing. And in doing so, each and every person, whether biologically male or female, identifying as male or female, or any other alignment to these traits within and without, is welcome here. Right now, the Great Mother is rising from a very long slumber. And in order to best understand and integrate these lost parts of ourselves as a collective, we need to begin to understand how and why this suppression took place and what we as individuals may do to assist with sacred union, both within and without, to support our awakening world. As such, despite my own human's discomfort with cameras and public speaking, I am here to offer this love offering. As I sat with the mother yesterday and began to feel into what was most in resonance to this particular group and myself as a messenger, it became quite evident to begin where this journey began through my human, because it's in direct correlation to what the culture has managed to collectively hold on to in conjunction with the goddess. So if you look at worldwide cultures and religions, there is one practice or one area of the world where the goddess has deeply been remembered. And that is in the Hindu wisdom traditions and the yogic traditions. In these traditions, devotion to the goddess was part of all spiritual practice. And because of this, her name has been revered. Her being, her archetype is celebrated. And as such, these traditions have archetypes, up to 108 different expressions of the goddess and beyond, depending on the yogic tradition. And so I want to talk to you a bit today about Shakti. I will drink a lot of water as energy is coming in as I'm receiving and also moving things through my own chakra system. Now that said, Shakti is likely how many of you arrived here today. It is the boundless, formless, infinite, divine feminine energy. And through the grace of spirit, the Hindu traditions have allowed her to be part of the culture on the surface. This is a testament to her strength in those traditions because they too were deeply touched by the patriarchy. I will not go into all of that or the politics of that because it is not relevant to where we are going together. I offer these understandings as an experiencer. Obviously, I am a Caucasian woman and I am not natively of these heritages. So I do not wish to culturally appropriate in any way. My knowing of Shakti comes through lived experience. It comes from being a born intuitive, but most of all, it comes from having the Kundalini activated, which is the Shakti serpent power within us all, through my near-death experience. I know that many of you, too, have had Kundalini experiences and or spiritually transformative experiences. One of the greatest difficulties about having a spontaneous Kundalini experience or a Shakti experience come on all at once is that quite often it enters through the crown. And because it's entering through the crown or the third eye, it has all of this to go down through, and it kind of gets like a ping pong or a bit of lost, perhaps, in translation as it's coming through. Ideally, in conjunction with the yogic traditions, the Kundalini lives at the base of the spine and is awoken from here and then goes up through the chakras as it purges through the density of the earthbound, through the cosmic bridge of the heart, and then up into the uppers to unify with Shiva or consciousness, supreme consciousness, which is the role of Shakti, which is what it is always attempting to do. And yet, Shakti is in all. It is not just the Kundalini. Every time you've had any type of transformative experience, you likely were resonating and experiencing the Shakti. Like much that comes from tantric-oriented yogic traditions, Shakti has a multitude of faces. She does not just appear as love and light. She also has a role in the dark feminine. This is extraordinarily important because these discussions about the Divine Mother, are to invite you to begin to see the divine feminine in a more wholesome, radically complete way. Quite often, as a culture, we have separated the feminine into two groups, which is one, the way that the patriarchy has told us it is, and the acceptable way, which means pretty, quiet, accommodating, caretaking. And then there's the other side of the feminine, which is the part of the feminine that typically awakens in both masculine and feminine bodies when there's been eons, in many of our cases, of suppression, or a lifetime or decades or years of suppression within the feminine energy system of the body. And when that happens, when emotion is suppressed, when it's constricted and not felt, and therein not allowed to flow throughout the entirety of the system, that energy builds. It constricts and it constricts and it constricts, yet it grows and it grows and it grows as it's constricting. And so quite often this dark feminine energy is deep in our lower chakras, and it's just sitting there waiting for something to erupt it. When it does, this is the part of the feminine that is vilified and seen as grotesque. Yet this very well may be the most medicinal aspects of the feminine archetype. And that is because this darkness is the epicenter of creation. It is a portal to the light. Being cognizant of Shakti and our resonance with it in everything that we do allows us to see how it influences us. When we're able to pick it up, do you need to be in meditation? Do you need to be in contemplation? Do you need to feel completely disconnected from your environment to receive this? If so, that gives you important diagnostic information regarding your energetic field. Or conversely, are you someone like myself who can have an ecstatic experience just by perceiving or interacting with something entirely new? Because the vibration, because the palpable, visceral voice of that boundless energy connects with you through all things. In this space, in Shakti, in Tantra, in the Divine Mother as a whole, there is no right or wrong. The Mother speaks the language of the circle. She holds all. So the invitation of Shakti is to begin to understand how all of these ancient, esoteric wisdom traditions from Sumeria to Egypt and beyond and into the Hindi scripts and practices came to understand this Kundalini energy. If you look at the iconography from these times, you will see the same images over and over and over. You will see the snake. As it releases, there begin to be two, and they intertwine and ultimately meet in the eye. This repeats in ancient texts over and over and over. When we begin to dig back into other more modern day European traditions, you'll begin to see that goddess worship with the Celts in Ireland and other lands had the same exact image. And so it behooves us to begin to understand and to begin to become intimately curious as to why these images were suppressed for so long, and also how and why they were shape-shifted by organized religion later to assist the patriarchy. It does not help systems of control and oppression if there is an intrinsic medicine within your body, within your cellular DNA that tells you that God is within. When we experience Shakti, she is the feminine, the boundless reminder, the feminine side of God saying, I am here in all things. You do not have to chase her. You do not have to seek her. In the feminine way, to receive Shakti is to open your channels to receive, which is why the yogic traditions have done a beautiful job of understanding this ancient embedded technology so that they could drop in the physical body, expand the vortexes, and call in this Shakti as they channel it upward to the opening of the thousandfold lotus, which many of you may know from your own NDE or spiritually transformative experience. That is a hallmark of the Kundalini experience, when the energy has come all the way up and it's able to get into the pineal gland, and a combustion of DMT and other chemicals occur. There is this magnificent light, as if you are connected to the cosmos and everything beyond, as if you understand everything, as if you are reunified with your Creator. And this gift, this seat of the soul, this divine channel within, is within each and every one of us. So Shakti invites us to begin to explore this doorway, to honor that her wisdom has been preserved. Her language has been preserved. And yet, as she is an energy, as she is shape-shifting, as she is in the moment, as she is part of the quantum, everlasting field, the way she shows up for you and the medicine she offers you is highly, highly unique. Shakti came through today as a voice because it's one that we can intimately connect with at all times. In coming weeks, I'm going to begin unearthing the goddess with you and talking more about how and why she was buried and how you can begin to call those goddesses into your world. Yet Shakti is here with us now. Every time I speak in any capacity, I feel her through my heart space. I feel her in my hands. I feel her in my connection with the audience. And most of all, I feel her from the audience. There is an engagement. There is a synergy. There is a field that we co-create. What is truthfully happening is the illusion of this mind and body, of this timeline, is dissolving, and we are meeting soul to soul. That is the Shakti. For when you get down to the core of it, the Shakti is what we all are. It's what we all come from. It is the womb of the cosmic mother. It is the core. It is what comes and combines with consciousness, or Shiva, to allow us to be this beautiful sacred union of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Some beautiful practices for awakening Shiva or calling in this Shakti to play through your body would be Kundalini meditation or Kundalini yoga practices. Yet for those that are already open to this, yet for persons that haven't activated that pathway, it's best to begin gently. And I offer that disclaimer because much of what's led me here to share this information with you is a byproduct of going through my own 12-year post-NDE awakening journey alone. My Kundalini and my Shakti came on so powerfully, pouring in from above, that my bodily system, due to complex trauma, could not contain it. And because of that, I went through many, many, many years of dark nights of the souls and difficulty integrating this. I offer this medicinal aspect of my story because I see it so often. I see persons playing with practices to awaken the Shakti and the Kundalini, and they might have good intentions, that they do not understand the sublime power of this energy. This energy is scrumptious, and I invite you to openly commune with it in the level you're able to tolerate here and now. But when you leave this space, or as you go through your day, I really want to invite you with first working with the root, working with the ground. And I'm going to continue sharing this information as we dive deeper into our goddess explorations together in coming weeks. The reason being this: as we collectively, and personally activate this Kundalini energy, and as more and more of the Earth's own beautiful Kundalini energy comes up after eons of suppression, it is going to be harder and harder for some persons with a lot of density in their system to ground this, to understand this, to clear the blockages that are dysregulating the Kundalini or the Shakti from going all the way up. And so I'm asking you and I'm encouraging you, when you come into this space, to practice grounding first and foremost. Sitting in lotus with your root actually open is a wonderful way to receive these transmissions if called. And the reason being, this position automatically opens you to the Great Mother. If your root is nice and open, these chakras will open to their maximum capacity right now. This is why it is a preferred stance for meditation. Moreover, the spine is the gateway to the Kundalini, and it must be porous. It must be supple. It must move. When we sit in this position, it allows the energy. You can see how I'm moving right now, allowing it to express itself. It allows it to move. If it can move freely, it will more easily get through these other vortexes. Now, in reference to the goddess and Shakti, interestingly, in the Hindu traditions, most of the goddesses the major goddesses have a correlation to the chakra centers. The one that's coming through right now is Kali. And so I bring her up because she is the master protector of the throat chakra. So in the ancient traditions, you had to actually pass Kali's test in order to be purified and go all the way up with the Kundalini, meaning she would present to you in the inner realms with her 50 skulls, and you had to be able to answer each articulately, truthfully, and pass the test of the shadows to advance to complete the seat of the soul and unify with cosmic consciousness. Now, this is really important. Because if you have a spontaneous awakening experience, a near-death experience, a spiritually transformative experience, you often don't get the privilege of having that work come up through the spine and then arrive to the heart and then optimally to Kali. Without that sacred journey, it can very much intensify and sometimes nullify, halt, and send that Kundalini crashing back down. And many of you that have had Shakti experiences know this. That is why I am offering many of these transmissions and live downloads so that you can connect it and the medicine and the experience and the energy to your personhood, to your story, and then you can carry it out as a light bringer into the world. So again, my invitation for you is to begin to really come into this space each week, softening and allowing, moving. Again, here we are not practicing a firm patriarchal style of meditation. We are just holding space and we are softening. Anytime there's resistance, and there will be resistance as we go deeper into the suppressed material, allow it. Your triggers are holy invitations from your blocks. I invite you to be with your triggers, to love them as the goddess loves your shadow. That is the quintessential difference in my lived experience of receiving goddess energy. There is nothing to suppress. There is nothing too ugly or too dark. There is nothing that makes you unlovable. There is nothing that will separate you from the formless when you transition. You are one and the same. There is no judgment in the mother's arms. And so I invite you this week to just really sit with what Shakti and Kundalini energy means to you. I also invite you to consider how and why Shakti and Kundalini are some of the only goddess-oriented traditions that we remain aware of as a collective. I invite you to sit with all of that. At some point this week, when divinely called, I'll be putting a follow-up talk. Well, it's kind of like an interview because I talk to them and get the information. I'll be putting a follow-up brief talk of whatever comes through in resonance to what you all share either in the chat today or what comes through to me regarding this cohort. For my purposes, it's very important to connect where you're at. And that's why we're going to begin with resurrecting the goddess. So that as we come into this new space together, we can explore, celebrate, and reclaim her in integrity. But before we are able to tend to the wounds of what was lost, before we're able to embody and share her, we have to honor the wounds. We have to honor where we're at. So with that, I'm going to invite you to that home play for the week. And I'm going to drop into the chat briefly to see what's arising. For those that are live with us now, if you'd like to come to Cosmic Child, which is a group for star seeds and sensitives, that will be next on a separate link on this channel. And also I invite you to Soul to Soul. The link is on my community page and in these show notes. The password will change weekly. And as the live chat does not air till tomorrow, I will share it here. The password is Venus with a capital V 23 for today. And that will start at approximately 11:30. Please be respectful of all paths should you choose to come into that private space. With that, I'm so excited to see who's here today and see what you have to share. Hi, Charlie. Hi, William. Hi, Adriana. Hi. Oh, I'm blanking. Oh, Shelly, good. Thank you for writing that. I was like, I'm bad with names if they don't have it in the handle. Joelle, welcome back. So good to have you here. Kenny, good morning, beloved. And yes, yes. Okay, so now I'm starting to see some of the comments about the Kundalini. Yes, Shakti is everything. I mean, literally, Shakti is everything. There's nothing that isn't Shakti. And that's why instead of infusing all of these answers or my personal bias or my book knowledge onto you, I just wanted to offer what the lived experience of her is and what many people struggle with. But the invitation here is to meet everything you encounter today as Shakti, because absolutely everything is. Had I understood that when I woke up from my NDE and began spontaneously seeing the quantum field on everything, I might have had a better foundation for what was happening to me rather than going through all of the pathological crazy making that my materialism oriented scientific mind went through. And so, yes. And yes, no one wants a painful, chaotic Kundalini experience. Kundalini is by far the most fun energy to play with. I wear my snake at all times as I do my moldavite because they assist me so much with this energy, which is intrinsic to everything I am and everything I do. And yet at the same time, I have such great deep reverence for Shakti and Kundalini that is something I strongly advise people to be legitimately prepared for and supported in if they choose to work with it. And that is why in the Hindu traditions, the guru was appropriate for them at a certain time and place because the guru had done the work. You receive it from the guru and then you can come back and do that practice. We have shifted so much. In my NDE, long before I understood what I was doing with that medicine, I kept hearing something in the light that when I came out, I wrote it down in my book. It was to the beat of the age of the guru is dead, the age of the guru is dead, the age of the guru is dead. Now that was 12 years ago and I didn't worship gurus or follow gurus, so it didn't make any sense to me at the time. But as we came into 2020 and I saw so many people giving their power away to other persons that were struggling as well, we're all perfectly imperfect humans. So really, once you open the path to Kundalini, you are the gatekeeper. You are the one dancing with the cosmic serpent. And you do need to have reverence for her power. Okay? And yes. Okay, someone's saying, oh, okay. So Joelle's saying hers rose upwards, but she didn't know what to do because she wasn't seeking it. Absolutely. A lot of people have the Kundalini come up and come on in spontaneously, but only partially. A lot of what we're hearing right now with plant medicine, and I see this a lot in my private practice, is persons have Kundalini experiences because of the medicine of the actual plant. But then when the plant is gone, the Kundalini's been activated, but it doesn't have anything to assist it with its flow. And typically, most of the chakras are pretty blocked. If that's happening, you've got this super highway that's now like a traffic jam, and you've got this really intense energy that it knows exactly where to go, and it will go at anything that's in its way. And that can be incredibly uncomfortable. And that's again why grounding is ultra important. For persons that have that spontaneous awakening, the best thing often is to really drop back down into those lower chakras and to begin to clear so that that pathway is clear and you work with the Kundalini as it's rising very, 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 very slowly. And so if you want to look at the yogic traditions, I believe the spelling is Laya. That's really where Kundalini, what we call Kundalini yoga in the United States, is really a byproduct of a multitude of traditions. But the Kundalini really comes from that tradition as far as going really far back as to when they began working with it and understanding it as a holy, energetic science. So, yes. Well, I love that you guys are talking about it. Please take that home play that I've offered to you I invite you to ask Shakti now to be with you through your day. Decree, I am an open channel. I am Shakti in motion. I am receiving. I am soft. I am allowing. And if your chakras are pretty open on the top, it depends where your Kundalini is. I have a lot coming in from the top right now because I had done work to have my chakras open. So there's like a flooding coming in from here. Other persons, as they say, I am open. I am receiving. They might start to feel it more from the hips or more from the root or more from the sacral. Again, you're going to have to trust your intuition here. But if it is uncomfortable in any way, that's when we pull back and we look for the organic unfoldment of it. Where is it calling to you? Where is it inviting you to be curiosity? If it's easier for you where you're at in your position in time and space to engage with it from the heart first, a call to action and invitation, you may do that. If it's easier for you to keep a little bit of distance with your mind and do research, you may do that too. Always check in with your system and always trust your highest guidance and use discernment. Everything I'm saying is the byproduct of the energies that are coming through at this space on this date and time through me. Yet I always behoove you to trust yourself. With that, I'm excited to come back next week. I know Venus has been coming through very, very strong, and we have some really big, amazing things happening with Venus retrograde. So we might drop into Venus and her significance with the suppression of the goddess, because there's some juicy history that I guarantee almost none of you know about. This was one of the things that was really revolutionary to me as I learned it. Yet we'll see where the energies are next week as we go into August, deeper into this Lion's Gate portal that we're in with the stars. This is a brilliant time for calling in what you really want and stepping confidently through your fears. We're also going to speak more about the transpersonal energy of the goddess. And each week, when I talk about one specifically, I'm going to invite you more to call that in. Yet first, together, we're going to do a little collective education and see where this goes. With that, I am so grateful to everyone that's here today. If this information resonated with you, please like the video that you're on now. Comments post tomorrow. So as this is a small new channel, it would mean a great deal to me if you could comment on the actual video, as those who are joining us through time and space will not see the live chat today. And again, I really want to call in persons who need this medicine, who have felt the call of the feminine or her absence, and can find community and support in the language of the circle here. With that, I hope to see some of you in Cosmic Child and later for Soul to Soul. Cosmic Child is next on this channel at 11 a.m. And water. And Soul to Soul will be privately on Zoom. Again, thank you so much for being here, your beautiful energy, your Shakti, and your presence, because simply by being here, you are committing to taking your Shakti out into the world with love. And that is the medicine we all need now. Sending love and blessings to all. Bye.